Looking to grow your podcast this year? Well, there's over 200,000 new podcasts started every year for you to compete with. So that also means there's thousands of new podcast shorts channels being set up every year too. I'm talking about those separate clip channels that podcasters like Joe Rogan and Logan Paul create. So without making more or better clips than all those other podcast short channels, you have no way of getting noticed. But the problem is most podcasters don't have the time to make these clips themselves or the money to pay someone else to create them. I've made shorts myself that have individually got hundreds of thousands of views, but because they took me so long to make, I later decided it just wasn't worth the time. But now, in 2025, you can make lots of high quality, great looking podcast shorts in seconds with AI. The Opus Clip app will study your podcast episode, decide what the best moments in that episode are, and automatically edit together short clips of those moments. I just wish this tool existed back when I made my shorts that I mentioned. So I'm going to run you through how to quickly make your own podcast shorts using Opus Clip, and then I'll show you how you can customize your short videos so that they stand out from shorts being made by all those other podcast channels out there. So let's start with how to quickly make your podcast shorts in Opus Clip. Once you've logged into Opus Clip, you'll see this screen here. And in this screen, we can either upload our podcast episode directly into Opus Clip, or if the podcast episode is already online somewhere like YouTube or Twitch, we can simply put the link to that episode into this page. So I'm going to click in this box and paste a link to a Donald Trump interview from Joe Rogan, just as an example for this demonstration. So I'll do that now. And we can instantly see that that has been pulled in by Opus Clip as the thumbnail to the video is being shown down here. It's automatically detected the language of the podcast episode. I'll just quickly mention too, you're going to want to make sure this tab here, Clip Anything, is selected. That's the new Opus Clip AI model, and I'll tell you exactly why you want that selected in just a second, but just make sure you're on this Clip Anything tab. Great, and then we just need to scroll down to enter some final settings before the AI will create our podcast shorts. So let's do that now. Cool, and this is the screen where we put in our clip setting. So we can choose clip length here. I like to keep my clips less than 60 seconds. So I'm going to select less than 30 seconds and between 30 to 59 seconds, but you can choose whatever you want. As the original video is a podcast episode and we want clips from a podcast, we just need to choose that this is a podcast by clicking this button here. And down here, this text box that we can type into, this is exactly why you wanted to choose Clip Anything. Because as we chose the Clip Anything AI, we can basically ask for any moments from the original podcast episode that we want in this box. The Clip Anything AI is able to both listen and watch what is happening in your videos and find those moments when you ask for them. So for example, I can just type into here, find me the funny moment, and the Opus Clip Anything AI will only bring back funny moments when it's making my podcast shorts for me. It's truly amazing. Just wait until you can see the next screen where you'll see the results from this in action. It's going to blow your mind. Great, and then finally we just scroll down, leave the time frame as the default setting, and here we just want to quickly choose a preset, like a style preset that we want our clips to look like. So if we scroll through, we can see different styles of captions based on the different designs that like celebrities typically use on their shorts. And just scroll through and choose one that you like. I really like this one here, Popline, so I'm going to choose this caption style for my shorts. And now that you've chosen your caption style, that's the last setting that you need to choose. All we need to do now is set the AI off to do its thing, and it's going to come back in around 20 to 30 minutes with our completely edited together podcast shorts for us. So let's do that now. We just need to press Get Clips in one click to let the AI start its magic, and we'll come back once this is finished. So we'll press this now. Awesome. So now the AI is finished, we're taken to this page. If we look at the top here, we can see my original command, find me the funny moments. That's what I asked Clip Anything to do for me. And it's come back with 52 podcast short clips from that original podcast. How crazy is that? From one click, it's automatically made 52 clips for us. If we scroll down, we get a preview of each of those 52 clips numbered. We have a title suggestion for each podcast short that Opus Clip thinks would make a good title for us. We can see the viral score here. I'll just hover over this number here, 98 out of 100. This is different for each podcast short that it creates for us. And it's basically Opus Clip's determination of how likely to go viral each of these clips are. I'll just go back up to the top and look at this clip. We can see that it's been tagged as a funny moment where people laugh, and we can preview any of these clips by pressing this play button here. So we'll give us a little preview now.
They should have never done it. I used to say it as a civilian, so I always got more publicity.
We'll leave it at that because I don't want to give you any spoilers of what's in the full video, which you'll see next when we go in and edit this. So far, we've seen that in just one click, the AI automatically has created 52 podcast shorts from us just typing in what we're after. Like, we want the funny moments or the best moments. And this is exactly what I'd be doing if I was starting a podcast shorts this year in 2025. The Opus Clip AI is time saving. You don't have to do this yourself anymore. It's money saving because you don't have to hire someone to do this like a lot of the big channels do. You can compete with them on their level without having to pay an employee. And third, it's beginner friendly. Anyone can pick up and use Opus Clip. If you're just starting a podcast and you're a complete beginner to all this stuff, this is perfect because it's designed to be able to use by anyone. And we're going to go in now and see the customization features, and you really will see how beginner friendly Opus Clip is. So let's do that now. Great. So to customize any of these clips, we just need to press edit clip right here. And that's going to take us into the editor where we can really make fine-tune changes and really put this in our own brand. So now we're inside the editor for this clip. We can see the clip preview over here on the right. We can see on the left here that everything that is said inside this podcast short has been transcribed and written out as a script. And there's a big advantage to having our script written out here, which I'll tell you about in just 1 second. And if we scroll down to the bottom here, we'll see the traditional timeline like you see in most editing software, and you can literally just scroll the playhead from left to right, and this will jump through to different points in the podcast short. But let's jump back and look at the dialogue that's been written out as a script over here on the left. I told you there was an advantage of this, and the big advantage of this is the personalization it gives you in making changes to your podcast short. For example, the clip starts with Donald Trump saying they should never have done it. We can see it written out in the transcript here. But let's say I don't want those words included at the very start of this podcast short. I can just select them, press remove caption and video, and where Donald Trump previously said those words at the start of the clip now starts after that point with what he was saying next about when he used to be a civilian. And if we press play, we can see that it starts at him talking about being a civilian now. It's cut out the previous words.
I used to say it as a civilian.
So real fast editing is one of the features of being able to see what is being said in the video over here on the left hand side. Another benefit is we can just press add a section here, and that's going to bring up this transcript that everything that was said in the original video around this podcast short that Opus Clip has made for us. And we can see it's loading here. Opus Clip will quickly add that additional footage into this podcast short that it's created for me. And there we go, it's been added right there at the bottom. So this text-based editing that you see on the left is just super powerful for allowing you to have personalization over any of these podcast shorts that Opus Clip has created for you. But there's also tons of other tools inside Opus Clip to allow your creativity to run wild so that you can create the podcast shorts that look and sound exactly like you want them to. For example, if we go over here to the left, we can see this music button here. And if we press music, we'll see Opus Clip's huge copyright-free music library that you can scroll through, have a listen to by pressing the play icon over here. Let's give this a listen.
To his company.
Sounds great. And once you scroll through and find a track that you like, you can quickly add any of these music tracks as background music to the podcast short that you're currently creating. So let's add this track here. Just did that by pressing this play icon, and you can see now the audio, that music track has been added as a separate layer down here underneath the podcast short video clip. You can head up to voiceover to add a AI voiceover to the start of your clip. So we'll type in here what the voiceover wants us to say. We just want the voice to introduce this podcast short by saying Donald Trump talking about civilians. We're going to generate that speech in Adam's voice, even though we can choose a ton of other AI voices if we wanted to. And we'll press generate speech to generate that AI voiceover to play at the start of our new podcast short. We can see down here on the timeline now that AI voiceover has been added right here. We just scroll down a bit further and mute the original video clip. We can press play to hear that at the start.
Donald Trump talking about civilians.
Such an easy way to customize your podcast shorts. Next, if we press this B-roll button right here, we get the option to auto-generate AI B-roll. So what this customization feature does is it studies what is being talked about in your original podcast clip, and it's going to add AI-generated images at select moments that are relevant to what's being talked about. Super powerful in just making your video more interesting to watch for the viewers. So let's try that out now. We can see that's just loading. It just takes around 30 seconds normally. Great, now that's done. If we scroll through the timeline, we can see that 3 pieces of B-roll have been added right here, here, and here. And we'll just play over one of them just so that you can see that in action.
Yeah, and they boost you in the polls because people were tired of someone.
So there we go. As Joe's talking about people being tired, we've got an image that's being added of someone being tired, just enhancing that original podcast short, customizing in a way that makes it way more interesting and specific to what you want. If you had sharp ears, you also would have heard that background music that we added earlier. Let's just play that a little bit longer so you can hear the music.
Talking in this bullshit, pre-prepared politics.
Nice. That makes such a difference, doesn't it? And finally, there's some tools in Opus Clip that just allow you to maintain consistency across your brand with every podcast short that you create. So I'll just show you those quickly. So to start off, take a look at this box down here on the left-hand side of the timeline. If I hover over it, it says Add Intro. And if I go to this box equally on the right-hand side of the timeline, it says Add Outro. So these two options allow us to upload a intro or an outro onto any podcast short that we create in Opus Clip, which can really be our kind of consistent brand intro or outro so that we can have the same intro and outro for every single podcast short that we create in Opus Clip. I'll just show you an example of this at work. If I press on the add outro box, I can look at the media that I've uploaded in the past. And this is my generic brand outro that I've created previously for my made up brand, Planetary Media. We're going to select this and make it the outro to this podcast short. So I'll click that, I'll press add as outro, and now we can see that the outro box has been updated to show the media that I just assigned to it. And if I scroll across the outro, we can see that my branded outro that I use for every single podcast short has now been added to this new short that we're working on. Really awesome for consistency. Next, if you have a family-friendly brand, and you consistently decide to not include curse words in your content because you want it to be watchable from anyone in the family, there's a quick option for you for that too. We just need to go over to the left-hand side here in Opus Clip and scroll down to AI Enhance, and you'll see the new auto censor button. And when we click that, any swear words are automatically removed from any podcast short that you are creating. So really quick and easy for family-friendly brands there. And the final feature I want to show you, we actually need to come out of this specific short. So to do that, we'll come out of here by going to Save Changes. And that's going to bake in all of those changes that we've made into this podcast short so that it's now customized exactly how we want it to be. We'll see that those changes are being saved into that short here. We've got a little countdown. Oh, and those saves have now been applied. But the feature we want to look at now, we need to go over here to the left hand side and click on the asset library. And I want to bring your attention to this area, the fonts area. And as you can see here, the final thing you can do that is really noteworthy here, you can actually upload your own custom fonts into Opus Clip to be used for those captions that are showing up on your podcast shorts. So that if you have like a very recognizable brand that uses a very recognizable font, here's where you upload it and you can apply it to any short to make them look different from all of the other generic online shorts that you see from all the other podcast channels. You can see here, I've already uploaded my own font in the past, this Champion font, and you can do the same nice and easily inside Opus Clip. So Opus Clip is just super beginner friendly to use and to get your shorts really personalized and customized so they're really unique to your podcast and your brand. You've got to be harnessing an AI tool like Opus Clip to grow your podcast brand in 2025, both quickly and in a way that looks and feels exactly how you want it to with the customization tools. And while you're making shorts from your podcast, you might also be interested in a tool that means you don't even have to record your podcast in the first place. Here's a little tutorial I've run through of how to use NotebookLM to create video podcast clips where you don't even need to turn up and record them yourself. It's all done with AI. So click to watch that next, and great luck podcasting in 2025. See ya.